Why does it breathe?
I don't believe in evil.
Everybody, this is Shavar Ross, Reginald Reckless, and you're listening to Hysteria Continues.
Yeah, and welcome back. Indeed you are. You're listening to The Hysteria Continues. This is episode 335. And again, we are going to be fingered by the long arm of the law as Psycho Cop returns. So, yeah, Nathan, this is a Nathan pick, isn't it? So tell us why.
Because it's fantastic. I mean, it's a slasher movie set in a skyscraper. It reminds me of Hard to Die. And you guys know how much I love Hard to Die. I just think that it's a great setting for a slasher movie. And I think Officer Joe Vickers is hysterically funny with his one-liners.
Have we covered Hard to Die?
Yes.
We have. I'm kind of, because now we are 35 episodes. I've chosen, it's my turn next time, and I have chosen an early 80s slasher we haven't covered, but then I suggested The Forest from 1980, the Don Jones movie, which turns out we had covered it, but I have no recollection whatsoever of covering it. So we have to be careful. But we're also going to slightly tweak how we do things today. So what we're going to do is we are going to do Recently Seen, but we are going to keep it towards the end of the show after the feedback, which means we're going to get into the main part of the show, the main feature, a little bit earlier on. But before we do that, let's have a little chat. How have we been doing? So, well, Nathan, how are you doing this fine day?
I'm doing very well. Yes, I can't complain. Except the weather's kind of hot, but I'll live.
It's summer, isn't it? So I think we're all living it. And I know Eric has got pants on, or are they still on, Eric?
They're still on, but they are skimpy.
And also, of course, if you don't know, it's the same in Ireland, isn't it? Pants are the same in the United States, underpants, but we call them pants.
Do you call the things you wear over those pants as well? So you're like, I'm wearing pants under my pants.
Trousers.
Oh, okay. Because that would have been funny.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but I don't know who got it first. But anyway, this is the kind of thing you tune into for The Hysteria Continues. So,
yeah.
So anyway, Joseph, how are you doing down there? I'm still trying to get used to this Brady Bunch. We got this kind of, when we were recording now on video, it's kind of like the Brady Bunch. And we all know who the real Jan Brady is, don't we?
Well, I'm on top of Justin as I look at things.
Actually, funny enough, I'm under Nathan.
Oh no!
Not for the first
under
time.
Me on mine.
Wow, yeah. But
yeah,
Joseph,
we went through this. A couple of little announcements. This is more Nathan, but we are going to be on TikTok soon. Nathan's going to open a TikTok account. If you are a TikTok user, I'm not, but I think Nathan will drive us home there. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, go check out Justin's Hysteria Lives channel. He's doing some awesome things, and I know I'm a little biased because we're friends.
Because you love Justin.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
But he's doing some awesome things that you should check out on YouTube, because a lot of people on Blue Sky didn't even know you had a YouTube channel, Justin.
Well, I've had a YouTube channel for 14 or 15 years, Hysteria Lives, but I kind of uploaded a whole load of, back in the day of VHS, and used to be I'm not even sure how I did it, ripped old VHS trailers. So I put a whole load of those, a lot of Fatal Games, of all the tracking and all the kind of all the stuff, all the good stuff you remember from VHS days, when everything used to be sit there and be scared to death that the tape was going to be chewed up. But yeah, I've started doing some other bits and pieces, putting some reviews up for new reviews on Hysteria Lives, doing a video version, and also a kind of mini documentary series on lost slashers. So I've just put out the second part of that with I think it's Carnage Hall's the main one, and also Lover's Lane from 1980, which was the Cannon Films lost slasher that was never made with Wayne Newton, who, for me and Eric, we probably don't know who Wayne Newton is, do we? I didn't know who he was, but apparently he's Mr. Las Vegas. Is Wayne Newton a famous person to you guys?
Yeah, he's a pretty common name. Yeah,
he was going to play. He's going to play a nightclub singer by day and a nutsoid killer by night in Lover's Lane for Cannon Films, which would have been the first film to actually have made use of the whole Lover's Lane, the Hook style urban legend, although it was a bit unsure whether or not he's going to be strangling or stabbing teenagers. But that didn't happen. But yeah, so there's a few lost slashes in there, so do check that out. Another little bit of
Justin, what might have been.
Yeah. And also one bit of exciting news, which I haven't told you yet because it literally just happened, is breaking news, is that I've been offered a contract for my potential new book on 90s psycho thrillers.
Ah, sweet.
So that will be looking at mainstream psycho thrillers like From Fatal Attraction to The X.
From Hell movies.
From Hell movies, yeah. So hopefully taking in some of the trashier ones as well. Well, I'm sure it will do. You know, from Poison Ivy right down to there's so many of them, isn't there? So yeah. So anyway, I'll watch this space.
Good things are happening despite all the bad things happening.
Exactly. So all good. So we're going to go. Say we're not going to fanny about. Which is a British expression. So, Nathan, you're going to bring us back in after this. So what have we got to whet our appetites, Joseph?
We'll have something.
Something, a trailer or a TV spot. So after this, Nathan will bring us back and tell us why he chose Psycho Cop 2 or Psycho Cop Returns. So after this, Nathan.
The ultimate bachelor party becomes the ultimate bloodbath in the return of Psycho Cop. 4 yuppie buddies plan a rowdy, raunchy after-hours bachelor party for their fun-loving colleague. Braving the wrath of their puritanical boss, they secretly commandeer the company conference room for an orgiastic night with sexy strippers and free-flowing booze. But what the hardy partiers don't know is that Psycho Cop is on their trail, and when this homicidal officer of the peace smells the blood of lovers and lawbreakers, a twisted showdown can't be far behind. Gleefully gruesome and crackling with gallows humor, Psycho Cop 2 delivers arresting action and state-of-the-part gore. Now, you might be wondering why I said state-of-the-part gore, but
I
that's
was wondering.
what the back of the VHS box actually says. I think it's a typo. So there was no proofreading.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shocking, yeah.
Yeah, for a film of this caliber. So Psycho Cop 2 is an interesting one for me because it's one that I saw the sequel before I saw the first one. And I loved the sequel, so I was definitely excited to see the first one back when, back in the day. It was way back in the day when, we just had the VHS stores. So it was kind of, you were stuck with whatever they had available, because you couldn't have streaming and find whatever you wanted.
We had it so good.
Yeah.
I didn't. I grew up in a small town, and I only had a selection of about 30 videos.
So, just to start off, I will say that in Psycho Cop 2, they don't say each other's names as often as they did in Psycho Cop 1, I noticed. Because there were some characters I kept forgetting their name.
Carolyn!
I love the ridiculous couple that are spending like most of the movie having sex in one of the office. I thought they were funny, especially the scene where the woman that's actually working late, the only person in this movie that seems to be doing any work, kind of catches them, and they have their little awkward exchange where she's like, "Oh, y'all get back to whatever it is y'all were doing." And he says something along the lines of, keep in mind, they're both standing there completely naked. And he's like, "Oh, it's not what you think. She tripped."
And our clothes fell off.
I feel like this is one of those movies that I could kind of tell that everybody had a fun time making it, because a lot of the performances are just completely over the top, especially the nerdy guy. Like, once Psycho Cop attacks, like, he is just chewing the scenery unlike anyone I've seen in a very long time. I love these movies like this where there's just different groups of people in a location. Like, you got the two adulterers that are hooking up. You've got the woman working late, the security guard, the strippers, the guys having the stag party. It's just like a motley crew of people getting picked off by Officer Vickers. And he also has some of the, best lines in the whole movie. He stabs the security guard guy's eye out, and then when he leaves, he's like, "Now I want you to keep an eye out while I'm gone." Yes, it's very clever. And let's see, there was one he said, oh, I got it written down here. So there's one where he goes, "Suspect is said to be blonde and extremely stupid."
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's obviously having a blast playing this character, because he plays him very well. I actually feel like in this one, he's even more over the top than he was in the first one. I mean, they definitely give him a lot more, one-liners to say in the movie. But yeah, in general, I feel like it's just a very fun movie. You can't take it seriously because it's just, it's not one to take seriously, but it's just really fun. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention is, I thought they got really clever, like towards the end of the movie, kind of spoiler alert. But when the group of guys see him like slapping the final girl around, and then they all run outside with baseball bats and all just start beating him, with the bats. I thought that was, an interesting finale. I don't think I expected it to go that way. But yeah, I mean, fantastic movie. 10 out of 10 for me. So let's see, I'm going to go in order of how I see you guys. So Joseph, you're right here. So what did you think of Psycho Cop 2?
Well, I liked the first one. It was shocking, but I liked it. This one I liked as much, if not more, than the first one. The production values on this were shockingly great. I mean, it has good cinematography for the budget. It also plays with suspense in a few scenes that I was shocked with. The elevator scene, you expect that dude to get crushed, and he doesn't, but he comes back around and just pushes him down the shaft. Don't do it. I also love the Spirit Halloween store kind of props in his police car in the beginning. It's like, how does he not smell like death when he walks into the donut shop? Someone would have picked up on that. The smell would have stuck to his clothes. I liked all the characters.
J-Lo's new perfume is Stench of Death. So maybe they thought he was wearing that.
Officer Vickers, your uniform smells of death.
It's gonna, Peter Barker is going to be advertising it.
Yeah, I liked all the characters, some a little more than others. I think I liked the female cast more than the male cast, especially the Ted Raimi lookalike. He kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I also love the mistaken identity shtick with Gus. They think Officer Vickers is Gus, or at least one of them does. So he goes in and has a conversation with him, and he's like, "I'll bring you back some booze." And I'm like, I kind of enjoying this. It's very sitcom-y, but it was a lot of fun. It's a very bubblegum film. In one ear, out the other. I don't know if I'll ever go watch it again willingly, but I had a lot of fun while it was on. So thumbs up, Nathan.
All right. Awesome. Justin.
Well, I saw Psycho Cop, the first one first, and I actually liked it more when we reviewed it recently after you picked it. I think probably again I saw it in a much better version than I think it's the Australian VHS I bought years and years and years ago. So I saw Psycho Cop Returns not that long ago. I reviewed it for Hysteria, I think it was 3 years ago. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's a few caveats. I mean, one thing for me, it kind of seems to take the lead, talking about Ted Raimi, it seems to take the lead from Sam Raimi's movie in so much it's almost like a comic strip. or it's a comic strip come to life. It's none of the characters, apart from the one woman, are realistic, as in they're not, everyone's a caricature, which isn't a problem for this movie because it plays like a comic book. And I appreciate that. I think some of the things that for me I found slightly more, not difficult, but I just think all the boobs and the grinding and all that kind of stuff gets a bit wearisome for me after a while.
Not for Joseph.
Well, they say it's because I'm not the right audience for that. But I found actually when the slasher movie stuff kicks in, it's actually really well done. It reminds me, like you say, of Hard to Die. So there's something quite irresistible about a slasher movie in a high rise with people being chased around by a mad killer. And I think that when it gets going, I think it is a lot of fun. And I think I do prefer this one to the first film. I think it's a better film all round. I mean, Robert Schaefer is obviously having a lot of fun with this, and I'm surprised they didn't, as they was mooted. I think it's mooted for he was to sign on for 5 more films in the series, which never happened for whatever reason. I don't know why. So yeah, no, it is. I think it's a really entertaining movie. For me, I could do without the bumping and grinding. It's just going to go on and on a bit, and the kind of hard soft scene with Carol Cummings, the ex-porn star, in the photocopier room does go on for what seems like an hour. And
it
so
reminded
that, for me,
sorry to interrupt you, Justin, but it reminded me of Nail Gun Massacre, the sex scene against the tree, which seems to go on.
They put that copier into overdrive, Nathan.
do you think? I know there's always been for instance, a completely different film, but Don't Look Now, where they thought Julie Christie was having sex with Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland's got a starting rumours there. Do you think they were having sex in this for real?
No, I don't think they were.
Probably not, but it looked quite. I always wondered how the mechanics of that work. If you're lying there and you're naked on top of each other, bumping up and down, how things don't.
You're just basically fucking without inserting.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but how do you
Dry
stop?
humping.
Guys, it's a Sunday.
How do you stop yourself?
A lot of actors say they get aroused when they do that, so I guess they can't.
Yeah, Robert Russler said he got stiffy when Grace Jones sat on him in Vamp.
Well, Michelle Bauer, who did a lot of the nude, like, kind of movies, the nude horror, she had did an interview once where she had mentioned that, like, a lot of times, like, the guys would be nervous about doing sex scenes because obviously they think that they're going to get hard from it. And she's like, she had to talk through a lot of, like, her co-stars, like, basically, I've done this before. It's fine. Don't be embarrassed.
So gave them a hand.
Yeah, she gave him a hand.
So, I've got more to say on it, but that was kind of like, for me, it very much felt like a comic strip, which I think is intentional, because I think people behind it were involved in comics beforehand, and I think very much had that thing. So it's kind of, it zips along at a pace, especially once it gets going. I didn't find Robert Schaefer as annoying. For me, I find those kind of late 80s, early 90s post Freddy quipping killers can be very hit or miss, because for me they are like literally Eric's joke of the week with a knife.
How rude.
So they're not, they're going around killing people but not making them laugh. So anyway, that's my tuppence for the moment.
Are you saying Eric's jokes of the week kill people and don't make them laugh?
Who knows how many people have been sitting at home probably not dying of laughing.
Well, I'm pointing to the famous Monty Python sketch where the guy writes the killer joke and they use it in the military and everything. They shout the joke across the trenches and it kills the soldiers because it's so funny. It makes them die.
Have you been approached from the army yet?
Not yet.
No, okay.
Eric, what do you think of Psycho Cop 2?
Yeah, I was, again, surprised by Psycho Cop 2 or Psycho Cop Returns, whatever it's called. For starters, the technical expertise, as Joseph was saying, sort of took me aback because I'd heard about these films for so long. I'm fresh to the Psycho Cop franchise in the last month or so, however we've been covering them. So they're much higher production values than I anticipated. I had it in my head that they were kind of like Hollywood's New Blood type of movies. But I think I described them as being kind of like Sorority House Massacre on the last one, and Evil Laugh, that type of film, kind of low budget but not ultra low budget, and also having a degree of filmmaking skill behind it to keep it tottering along. And the High Rise Locale I liked. It's a great potential for the backdrop to a slasher movie. I mean, Halloween 2 came close to being a high-rise set movie. I'm not sure it's exploited all that well in Psycho Cop 2, and I'm not blaming them. They had budgetary restraints, but I do kind of like the setting, and I didn't bother me the extended sex scene in the photocopier room. I just found it kind of absurd and kind of fun. I thought this was a great palate cleanser after Tonight She Comes, which, for starters, I didn't regard as a slasher movie, and secondly, I didn't like it really in any way at all. And so a back-to-basics slasher movie was kind of what I needed for this episode. And this is exactly what was provided. I thought the kill scenes, whilst they weren't, elaborate or anything, they were very well done and effective. There's scenes where there's a couple of people that get shot in the head in it, and it's quite Tarantino-esque. There's this big sort of explosion of blood that splatters against the wall behind these victims, which I thought was really well done. I agree with Joseph here. I really didn't like the Timu Ted Raimi character. I think is Brian his name.
Timu Ted Raimi.
Like, his performance is a bit too over the top, and he's kind of a bit too pantomimey for me. He looks like he's from a kid's TV show, and he did great on me. Now, spoiler alert, there are two, not one, but two moments in the film where you think he's killed off, and I'm like, yes, thankfully. But then he survives till the end. Boo. He reminded me of kind of one of those characters in the later Scream films who just can survive multiple stabbings and shots and stuff and still live to fight another day. And like what Justin said, I don't find Psycho Cop himself that hilarious. He has quips and one-liners. I mean, they're kind of ho-hum. They don't bother me, but I just don't find him that interesting. I'm still much more about, silent mass killer who's revealed at the end to be one of their friends, and he has some ludicrous reason. But I mean, that's just a small thing. I'm not sure I enjoyed this as much as the original. I did really enjoy it. The original, of course, was set in the woods, which is my favorite slasher setting. The more urban it becomes, with the exception of maybe Halloween, the less interested I am in it. But also, as Justin was saying, the sequel seems really preoccupied with boobies and bum-bums. There's a scene where the strippers are going upstairs and the camera's just practically up this poor woman's arse, and focusing on her G-string, which is, an atomic wedgie style G-string. It must be really uncomfortable. I don't know. I've never worn a G-string. What are they like, Justin?
I've never worn one.
Of course you haven't,
Justin. At least
Justin.
I wear underpants, Eric.
How rude.
Justin, you do seem like the type that would go to like a cruise and walk around in, one of those.
I'm the least likely person to do that. Although I imagine Eric, our now resident drunk, would be more likely to do it.
I'm not a resident drunk.
You've been drunk on the last 3 episodes, and that's not including the drunk cast.
I'm not drunk now. This is only my second G&T.
6 beers for lunch is hardly drinking.
Yes. And the ending, like Nathan said, kind of strangely satirical and political. This was what, 1992, 93 this was made? So not long after the Rodney King incident, and it kind of does the reverse of the Rodney King. So it has these civilians beating up this policeman while the guy in the balcony sort of videotapes it, which I thought was quite an interesting way to end the movie. That was really, I was going to comment on that as well. That was really kind of interesting. It's kind
aggressive.
But it's got I love a kind of a slasher movie that has that kind of what the fuck ending from Girls' Night Out. In this is in a completely different way, but it has something where you think, wow, there's something out, there's intelligence perhaps behind this, or something else, or they're making a point, or whatever it is. But yeah, it was quite surprising to see that.
They're playing with conventions a little bit with the whole Friday the 13th falling out of the cabinet shtick. He says this is not a Friday the 13th film.
He says, yeah, no, it's not Friday the 13th Infinity, doesn't he? So he's kind of thing. Talking of, one thing I did question possibly for Nathan was obviously, when people talking to the Friday the 13th series, trying to do the chronology of it and trying to piece it all together. So obviously with Psycho Cop, you've got Psycho. He's because I said one of the things he says he's supposed to be undead. He's supposed to be a zombie of kinds. Is that your understanding, Nathan? Because I'm wondering what a zombie's doing eating donuts in a coffee shop.
To me, I don't know. I feel like it kind of teeters the line there because obviously he takes like a lot of, hits and stabs and chops and he still is fine. So I don't know. I could see that being the case, that maybe he's like just kind of supernatural in a way, maybe like he made a deal with the devil and gave him more of a supernatural, help from the devil.
But I mean, that leads on to my second question. If he is a Satanist, and this is all kind of to do with the Satan and the devil, why is he such a party pooper?
Yeah, I'm like, I think that it's weird for him to be so moral, obviously aside from the killing, but his whole idea of you're breaking the law or you're committing adultery and stuff like that.
Maybe he made a deal with Jesus.
I mean, these are some quandary or some questions to
ponder. Yeah.
Think on. Yeah, to ponder. That's a good term.
So, well, Nathan, what else? Is there anything else you want to say about Psycho Cop Returns? Because, I mean, I can imagine you are heartbroken that it didn't go on to, like Maniac Cop series. It kind of just one after the other. Because I know when we covered the original Psycho Cop and we did some of the background was that the makers of Maniac Cop, Bill Lustig, presumably tried to take out an injunction, or did take an injunction to stop it being released because of its similarity to Maniac Cop. But this one, I'm surprised because this one looks like it's got a decent budget, as in like not super budget, but like enough to to be shot on film. To look pretty good. But it also had like a bit of a checkered history, didn't it? With because you were warning us, Nathan, when you before we watched this, to make sure we watch the uncut version, because people who may have seen it, who've watched the cut version, which is the one on most places, isn't it? Is it on Tubi at the moment, cut or uncut?
Uncut one.
Yeah, the uncut's on Tubi because that's where I watched it.
Because it is, and obviously the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray is fantastic, and that's completely uncut. But everywhere else, I think on YouTube, for instance, it is cut, isn't it?
It's one of those ones that it's cut so badly, like it's so choppy, the way they cut the death scenes, that it's one of those cases where if you watch the cut one, like that they have trimmed all the gore out because of just how choppy the death scenes are.
I mean, it kind of leaves it open to like Psycho Cop Returns again. Could have been set in a hospital. Could have been Halloween 2.
That's kind of my thought, is that I think they should have done a franchise, but I think the different things for every movie should be just a different setting every time. Like The Woods was the first one. Skyscraper was the second. Like you said, maybe the hospital is the third. A school. Like, I just think that it would have been fun to have the kind of a Friday the 13th style series, but the difference is the settings.
It's a good idea, actually.
I know Robert Schaefer he said he'd written a Psycho Cop sequel, didn't he? Which I don't know whether it could still happen. He's still alive, isn't he? So who knows?
Yes.
Shall we move on to some background then? Nathan, as it's your pick, do you want to tell us all about Psycho Cop 2 and the background, the cast stories, and all the reviews you've dug up?
Go for it, Nathan.
I have some background. I'm not saying no this time. Brittany Ashland and Sarah Lee Froten, who play the go-go dancers
in the Stag movie, were both discovered.
This is unfair. You know what? The climactic beating of Joe Vickers had to be shot twice. How about that?
Let me see. Hang on. I'm scrolling down. Yeah, I see that here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And why was that, Nathan?
Probably because, they needed different angles.
Go ahead, Nathan, and finish off your trivia. Sorry, I was just being mean.
Well, how dare you?
Look at him, chug, chug, chug.
Julie Strain, who played one of the strippers, convinced the screenwriter to draw a dirty picture of her having sex with Bart Simpson.
Wow.
The insanity.
Hi, caramba.
I know Robert Schaefer from The Office because I watched The Office and he plays Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. And he's really good in that role. The director, Adam Rifkin, is the man with the video camera filming the beating at the end. Kind of a director's cameo, the way Lucio Fulci did cameos as well.
Wow, drawing parallels to Lucio Fulci.
There is parallels. There absolutely is parallels. And I'm going to pass the trivia to you guys, but if you check back in with me in 5 minutes, I'll have more.
Does it take you that long to open Wikipedia?
No, I'm not going to do Wikipedia.
Okay. So, well, Eric, what do you have for us?
Other than the vapors.
Okay, well,
Wikipedia.
Nathan was saying Brittany Ashland and Sarah Lee Froughton, who play the go-go dancers in the Stag movie, were both discovered by director Adam Rifkin working as strippers at a bachelor party that was held by Charlie Sheen. Ooh. Film was shot over the course of a single week. And okay, we can see a poster for the original Psycho Cop in the background in one scene of the film. And yeah, that's all I have. Bye.
Joseph, how about you?
Zip.
Okay. So I think the Simpsons connection was the screenwriter, wasn't he? He was who wrote this, was also writing for the Simpsons at the same time.
Actually, sorry, Justin, now that you mentioned that, and you probably mentioned this as well, but they mentioned something in the film about maybe it's a mutant ninja something or other. One of the writers wrote for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon series.
Right. I wonder if that's the same.
His name
person.
is Dan Povenmire.
Yeah, I think he was writing for the Simpsons. I might be wrong on that, but I think that was the case.
He was a storyboard guy.
Yeah, he's a storyboard guy for Family Guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get a note here. I'm presuming it's talking about Adam Rifkin, and this is a Charlie Sheen connection, that he also went on to work on The Chase. Do you remember The Chase with Charlie Sheen?
I love The Chase.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Who was that? Christy Swanson or somebody in that?
Mm-hmm. I don't like most of the people in it, but it's a fun movie.
But it also has, because it had a really good soundtrack, it didn't have Suede and stuff like that one, I seem to remember. So, yeah, I need to catch up with that.
And Henry Rollins giving the worst performance ever. I love Henry Rollins, but he's not an actor.
So apparently his Invisible Maniac also was made in 1 week, and it made a lot of money. So I think I'm not quite sure how because when we covered Psycho Cop, the first one, it was shot by the ex-lover of Rudolf Nureyev. So if you've not heard about that, the story about that, then go back and listen or watch that. We weren't recording video then, but listen to that episode, because that's a kind of really interesting story. So I'm not quite sure how. I couldn't really find out how the kind of the rights from Psycho Cop went from the ex-lover of or the late lover of Rudolf Nureyev to Adam Rifkin. Well, obviously they did, but apparently there was a 5-picture deal on the table for Robert Schaefer as Psycho Cop, with a view of going forward. But from what I can understand, this movie it did play theatrically, but only in Dallas. So it didn't get a wide release, because was this 93, wasn't it? Or 92, 93? 92. So really, I mean, this was the kind of the doldrums, wasn't it, for the slasher movie, really, as a theatrical force, I can guess. I'm trying to think what other slasher movies are out in 92.
Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles, but that was a studio picture, wasn't it? This one
also a one-liner movie.
Yes, that's true. But this one didn't go beyond a few showings in Dallas, so it went straight to video and to cable, I presume. So for whatever reason, it didn't have the legs to kind of start a whole franchise. I mean, I think for me, kind of, we were talking about the high-rise thing, but they're also, obviously, Hard to Die was the other movie, mentioned, but there's a Kathleen Kinman, the Trapped, the Fred Walton TV movie, which is really good.
I liked it.
Yeah, and of course they're all based, I mean, these are all going to come from Die Hard, don't they? It's kind of like Hard to Die, Die Hard. So these are all inspired by that. But one of the movies that I'm always going to mention, which I know is, I think, one of Joseph's favourites from the 70s, and I can urge anyone to go and watch it if you get a chance, is I'm the Girl He Wants to Kill, the Brian Clemens movie, part of the Thriller series from about 1974. Yeah, well, that is the kind of that I would imagine that is the granddaddy of any high-rise slasher movie by a long stretch, and it's kind of it has that really very suspenseful, and actually is the whole Brian Clemens thriller series is all about suspense, so really playing with the lifts going up and down and avoiding the killer. So but yeah, so we didn't get any more Psychocop. I mean, it's not too late. We've still got the people involved in it out there, but whether or not it happens, probably not at this point. Although, obviously, the Vinegar Syndrome release, I know it's Psychocop Returns was one of their biggest, the highest requested movies, I think, for Vinegar Syndrome. If it hasn't kind of generated enough interest in a sequel, sadly, we may never see one. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this movie. So Nathan, another gold star for you for picking something that isn't totally unwatchable.
Yeah, well done, Nathan.
Well done, Nathan.
I'm trying to think when the last one, what was the last one I picked that y'all would have found
Psychocop.
unwatchable? No, I'm not talking about the actual last one. I mean, like the last movie that I chose that y'all hated.
Well, no, we can't blame you for Axum. Because that was the very worst one. That wasn't you, but it was spiritually, it was kind of the kind of thing you would make us watch.
So we'll blame you for it anyway.
I didn't pick a crimmy.
Yeah, Justin.
Shade.
Nothing wrong with crimmies. Nothing wrong with crimmies.
Who picked that awful Screaming Lizard, or whatever they're called, film?
Club Dread. That was me.
Yeah,
because I have taste, Eric.
Yeah, you have taste. That film's awful.
Well, we'll see who's got taste at the end of this episode. It won't be me, as it's my choice. But what was the consensus? Did we get any feedback on this one, Joseph?
We had 15 comments. Here are the top 3.
Excellent.
Easily the best Jim Wynorski flick Jim Wynorski never made. Adam Rifkin hits a balance of chopping mall and Hard to Die and has Joe Vickers crash an after-hours bachelor party in an office building. Bobby Ray Schaefer seems to be having a ball. I consider it a ridiculously fun popcorn slasher, and that's from Bob Freeze.
I thought you were going to say Simon Logan.
Me too.
Tricked you, didn't I?
You did.
Rifkin has a fairly diverse filmography, but this film and his earlier Invisible Maniac prove he has a keen eye for silly and sleazy slasher hijinks. For me, Psycho Cop Returns improves on the original in every way. I suspect this would pair well with Hard to Die in a double feature. And that was from Lee Russell. Thank you, Lee. And finally, I can understand why horror movies fell out of love in the late 90s, or in the 1990s, sorry. He says, sorry, but rehashing 1990s frat boy hijinks but set in a 1990s workplace is a tired idea by then, and I'm trying to think how, but he thinks it's tired. Tries to be funny, but the puns and one-liners fall flat. Adults acting like teens wasn't really paying off for me, and that was from Sean McFall.
Right. Well, I'm trying to think, because we shifted things around now. So
we did.
Yeah, so what are we doing next?
Well, we shifted Eric's Joke of the Week to after the credits.
How rude.
I forgot because I still had one more piece of trivia. So I'm going to throw this in right quick. So Julie Strain, who played the stripper, I think she's in the Cow Leg Chaps. She was the Bear Wench from the Bear Wench Project series, which I love. It's one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but it's one of them. Yeah, she plays the title character. Kind of a version of the Blair Witch, but...
Oh, is that where they got the name from?
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, well, I can guess. I think my soundboard is working now, which means that... let me just get the Joke of the Week jingle ready and the sad trombone ready.
Sad trombone, you won't need that.
It's my Joke of the Week. It's so freaking fantastic.
Why was the Psycho Cop called to the set of Pink Flamingos? Because Mink stole. She stole. Because her name's Mink Stole, and if you steal something, it's bad and you need the police.
Eric should be a housewife because he's kind of like, he can pretend to cry, but no tears come out.
They are tears. You can't. It's not high def. That's why you can't see them.
Fair enough. So, okay. Well, do we have any feedback?
Yes,
we do.
So
okay.
I've got one here from Rob Fries. Anyone know who he is? Never
the
heard
only
of him.
person who writes in.
He says, hey guys, just wanted to drop a quick greeting and say I'm enjoying every new podcast and continue catching up with past episodes. The classy drunk cast for Halloween Resurrection is now a favourite. I have a question for Eric, that's me. What did you think of Silent Scream? Since you were gone for the episode, I wondered what your thoughts were. Well, I didn't watch it for when we were covering it because I was on a beach in Portugal, so I can't really tell you what I thought. I do remember liking it, but it's been like 20 years since I've seen it, so that's all I can say. Sorry. I liked isn't there a girl with a pudding bowl haircut in it?
Rebecca Balding, yes.
She is definitely not balding.
No, she's definitely not balding. Yeah. I appreciate what you guys are doing more than you know. I'm preparing to release my slasher book, and as you all know from your many creative endeavours, every project gets to a point where you can't stomach looking at it anymore. Having to listen, watch, or read something over and over can convince you that whatever you are creating is garbage. You start second-guessing everything and question why you're even doing it. Listening to you talk about these films we love constantly reminds me why I'm writing it, and has kept me from falling into that trap of self-doubt. You've kept my enthusiasm going, which has driven me to make it the best that I can. Thank you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday the 13th, which is past a few weeks ago now, and I look forward to the next episode, and that's from Rob Fries.
That's more like a month ago almost.
Yeah, it is almost a month ago now. Sorry, Rob.
You have a very cool name, by the way.
He does.
But I have had the pleasure of seeing Rob's. Rob sent me a draft of his book, and it's going to be it is a real treat, and it'll be a real treat for people to get their hands on. And hopefully, Rob will be part of the show at some point in the coming weeks. Just
is
need
it
to
a
firm up some
slasher
plans.
movie book?
It's a kind of a slasher movie review book.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, Joseph, how do people get in contact with the show?
No, there's another one there if somebody wants to read it.
I can if y'all want me to.
If you wouldn't mind, Nathan.
Here's what we got. Hi, I have been listening to your podcast for the last year on YouTube after discovering your hilarious auto commentary on Nail Gun Massacre.
Which one? We've done about... Have we done 2 or 3?
Have we done 2?
Yeah.
Just listen to Halloween 6. I have also seen both of your video blogs recently, and you all look very handsome and well. Listening to your podcast from 13 years ago, I can't wait, but also feel sorry for you for some of the things coming. COVID, lockdown, and the new Halloween trilogy. I guess he didn't like it. I like the first part, but haven't watched the second or third yet. There we go. I think we will probably end up with a TV show, but how that will work, we will see. Bates Motel seemed to do well, so we will see what Halloween and Friday the 13th can do. Getting shouted on, so bye for now. And that's from Robert Gaddis.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. So I'd say if you haven't seen the second part of that new Halloween trilogy, or you don't need to watch, just stand and face the mirror and shout "Evil Dies Tonight" at it for 90 minutes.
You guys are so mean to those later 2 Halloween movies. I like them.
I don't mind them, actually. I don't. But I mean, it is true. They do say "Evil Dies Tonight."
They do,
a lot.
and that bit's embarrassing. But it's not the whole movie, though. Justin makes it sound like that's the whole movie.
I like Halloween Ends. I'm sorry. I love it, actually.
Me too. I like it. There you go.
I shall go back and look at them and with a fresh eye at some point, maybe in Halloween this year, and I shall feed back then whether or not I like them anymore. So, Joseph, how do people contact the show?
Yeah, we are on Blue Sky. We're soon to be on TikTok. More than nothing, follow us on YouTube and consider joining us on Patreon to help support the show. It would mean a lot to us. And you can email us at thehysteriacontinues@gmail.com.
Indeed. So, yeah, well, thank you for watching or listening, depending on how you're...
Are we going to do a recently seen?
Oh, of course we are, aren't we? Yeah.
This is so confusing.
The new format is messing us
Yes.
up.
Well, it's baby steps, isn't it? We're finding our feet with this. So, yes, recently seen. So, Nathan, what have you been watching recently?
So I watched one on Tubi called, I think it's called Buzzcut. But yeah, it's an interesting movie. It's like a killer beekeeper. It's going after a group of people, like at this, camp in the woods. It's a horror comedy. It's, from New Zealand. I guess for me, I think they try to go way too obnoxious with it to where I don't know that I found it as funny as it's supposed to be. But just to know, if this is your kind of movie or not, I'm going to give you the names of a few characters in this movie. And just based on these names, I think you'll know what kind of movie it is. Okay, so one of the characters is Winona Ryder. Another one is Rusty Trombone. One is Fugly Moa. And one is Sir Cum Navigator. And the last one is Minnie Schlong. And these are their actual names, not nicknames. So this should tell you if you'd be interested or not.
Well, Nathan, this sounds right up your alley. So if you didn't like it, then I don't think there's a bat's hell of a chance of us liking it.
It's not that I didn't like it. I just feel sometimes...
Nathan, it's okay to say you didn't like a movie once.
No, it's not that. It's like... It feels like they're trying too hard to be funny. And I think sometimes when you're trying too hard, it comes across a little more obnoxious on screen.
Well, that's kind of that whole discussion, isn't it, about cult movies? What makes a midnight or a cult movie? And when you try and make a cult movie, it rarely works. Whereas if you make a movie that has that appeal or that kind of, it's something intangible, isn't it, that makes a proper cult movie?
I think it's happenstance and accidental when a movie becomes a cult property.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, well, anything else, Nathan?
I can't think of anything else, and I feel like if there is one, it may be one that we've all seen, so I'm going to let you guys take it from here.
Okay, so, Eric, do you want to go next? I know you've seen one, I think we've both seen one at the cinema, haven't we?
Yes, we have. But I'll talk first about a film I saw called Communion from 1989. This is not the Alice Sweet Alice movie. This is an alien abduction movie starring
Christopher Walken,
yeah.
Whitley
Strieber novel, who of course wrote Wolfen and The Hunger, and this is his non-fiction account of his own personal experiences of being abducted by aliens and anally probed on the 26th of December 1985. So Christopher Walken plays Strieber in the film, and it's directed by Philippe Mora, who did The Howling 2, which kind of gives you an indication of where the film is going. So Walken plays the character as really unhinged from the get-go, and he seems to be improving his way through the script all the way through it. And he kind of comes across like Gene Wilder's interpretation of Willy Wonka in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And the film as a whole is really bizarre. The alien abduction scenes are filmed like dream sequences. I think the intention was to have this kind of floaty, ethereal effect. But you have these aliens who, the classic aliens with the big head and the insect eyes, kind of floating around in this spaceship, and they look like helium balloons, really, more than anything else. There's also these other aliens who look like they're creatures parachuted in from Jim Henson's Labyrinth movie. And, we get to see them anally probing Christopher Walken. It's not graphic, but he's nudie in it, but you don't see a whole lot. But it's just a bizarre scene. And there's a moment in it where they all start dancing the samba together. And I couldn't really make head nor tail of what was going on for the majority of the film. It's just a very, very weird film.
What with the aliens are dancing the samba?
Yeah, the aliens are dancing the samba with them, with Christopher Walken. Yeah, so I thought I was going to really love this film because this is my first time watching it. And I thought, alien abduction movie from the 80s, this will be kind of fun. Because the Fire in the Sky, I thought was great.
1993.
Yeah, 1993. I thought that was a great movie, and I thought this was going to deliver more of the same, but it doesn't. It's kind of tone poem-ish at times, but it's just weird, and it's 110 minutes long, and I was kind of bored with it. But it's a very strange film, I suppose. Alien abduction film from the director of The Howling 2. It kind of delivered what you would expect from that description, maybe. But I wasn't a huge fan of it. Have you seen it, Joseph?
I was in the movie because I needed a paycheck. Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. It's a very strange movie. It's not your typical alien abduction movie. I actually have it on VHS. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember thinking it was okay.
Maybe a second viewing might help, but I wasn't a huge fan. Have you seen it, Nathan or Justin?
Not yet.
No, I know of it, but I've not seen it.
Okay, so I went to the cinema, as Justin said, but I've saw two films, so I'll mention this one first. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. Megan 2.0.
No, I did. I saw the trailer made it look like a sci-fi action movie.
It is a sci-fi action movie,
not a horror movie.
It's about 2 hours long. Yeah, so it brings back. The setup is that there's this new AI doll figure that the military are using. It's gone sentient and rogue, and they need to bring back Megan to fight it. So Megan becomes a good guy. So people are kind of comparing it to Terminator 2 in that respect. I thought this was a lot of fun. Now, it's absolutely tanked at the box office. It's done like really bad at the box office. Even though the reviews are kind of mixed, it's not getting necessarily negative reviews, but it's just tanked for some reason. But I really enjoyed it. I thought parts of it were very, very funny. Now it is a bit too long. It's pushing 2 hours. And it is, as I said, it scraps kind of the horror element of the first one, and it has lots of quippy one-liners, tying it back to Psycho Cop. Megan is very sassy in this. And it brings back, the two surviving main cast members from the first one back into this. I thought it was a lot of fun. It reminded me of kind of the shift from Happy Death Day to Happy Death Day to You, whereas this, the sequel to that film was kind of like a parallel universe type of movie. It had more in common with maybe Back to the Future 2 than it did with a slasher movie. But I really enjoyed Megan 2.0, and I'm sad to see that it's tanked so badly, because I would like to see more of this franchise. I thought it was really slickly done. It's the same director again, isn't it? I think, as the first Megan movie. And it's not a radical shift from the first one. It's just that it's gone more. It's leaning more into comedy and action than it is into horror in this sequel. But I had a lot of fun with it. It is. I mean, it's daft as a brush, but it knows it is, and it kind of has fun with that. And people are saying it's kind of more like a James Bond / Mission Impossible type movie than it is a horror. But I didn't mind that. I just thought it was a fun, silly sci-fi blockbuster action.
But don't the thing that put me off going to see it, actually, because it did play in English at the cinema here, was that I saw the trailer actually at the cinema when I saw the other film we're about to talk about. Probably the film before that we're going to talk about. And I saw it very much looked like an action movie and not a horror movie. And for me, it seemed a little bit early in the franchise to be dumping the thing that made your film a success in the first place. It seems a bit strange to do that. I can understand this being the fourth or the fifth one and do something different once you've built up an audience, but to kind of basically dump the idea of any kind of creepiness or oddness or horror elements from a horror film, to me it's no wonder that people have stayed away from it. Having said that, I certainly will give it a go with those caveats and thinking, with that in mind, but not, at least I wouldn't go into it now expecting a horror movie.
Well, it kind of, as I said, it reminded me of Happy Death Day to You, which was much more of a sci-fi movie than the first one, which again was the first sequel. So the other one I saw, and Justin saw this as well, was 28 Years Later. Now, I didn't really have any interest in seeing 28 Years Later, but then I listened to a spoilerific podcast about it when I was traveling to the airport a few weeks ago. And they were talking about the ending, which is dividing people right down the middle. Majority of people hate the ending, which is literally the final 3 minutes of the film. And it made the film, it sold the film to me, because it's such a bizarre way to end the film that I had to go see it. So the setup for this one is there's people living on an island off the northeast coast of England, and they have their own sort of society there where there's no infected, and they can travel across to the mainland to, I don't know if they need to go for supplies or whatever, but the setup is there's a young guy and his father, and they go across and start hunting the infected as part of a kind of a coming of age ritual almost. But then his mother is very ill, and he takes her across the mainland because he hears that there might be a GP or I don't know if you have GPs in the States, a general practitioner, a local doctor that might be able to cure her.
General practitioner.
Yeah. So he goes across to the mainland and brings his mother with him, who's very, very ill, hoping to find a cure for her. And he encounters lots of zombies, I suppose. And there's actually a mix of zombies in this, as well as the normal fast-running, horrible zombies that we see. There's also these kind of tubby, overweight ones who crawl along the ground and eat worms. That I was wondering how on earth do they get so fat? I mean, surely the food supply on the mainland is kind of limited at this stage, but I don't know. There's also what was the other?
Did you fancy any of them, Eric?
No, I didn't, Justin. There's also a subplot involving a pregnant infected person who gives birth to a baby. That's kind of interesting as well, and that's kind of left hanging at the end of the movie, because there's a sequel called The Bone Temple coming out again, like with Megan. They've already filmed the sequel to this, and it's coming out in January or February next year, called The Bone Temple, which is going to tie up some of the loose ends, including that controversial ending, which summons up the spirit of a disgraced UK celebrity that I think some people might think as tasteless. I thought it was just so bizarre that it made it just kind of a jaw-dropping kind of ending to the film. The other thing with the ending is people are saying, apart from that aspect, it's a real tonal shift, because the majority of the movie is kind of somber, like the other 28 weeks, days later movies, and then it suddenly shifts into kind of a slapstick final 2 or 3 minutes, which some people found jarring. I didn't find it that jarring. I did find the reference to this disgraced UK celebrity to be very strange, but I like kind of strangeness in these type of films. So what did you think, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I rewatched 28 Days Later.
So did I, yeah.
Sort of recently, and I remember seeing all of them in the cinema, and that was quite quirky. You know, certainly had like the Danny Boyle thing. It had all the kind of strange, like it was shot on video, wasn't it? And you had all the kind of scenes like going past a field of flowers, all done in kind of digital effects, kind of, you know, things, painterly effects and things like that. So he's definitely been quite playful with that. The sequel was very much more kind of an action movie, wasn't it? A horror action movie, where they kind of try and reintroduce people to London to try and repopulate the UK, and then the outbreak happens again, and it's very much more of an action movie. And I thought it was pretty well done. So this one, I was unsure what to think. I mean, it's kind of got that Danny Boyle thing where it's kind of playing with kind of medieval, the whole thing of medieval England, isn't it? And like the flashbacks to archers, and kind of quite typical, like kind of guess in post-apocalyptic films where you go back to a kind of a medieval style living off the earth type thing, because this is obviously 28 years later. And there was kind of certainly nods to things like The Wicker Man, wasn't there, which weren't explained in this, with the little girl with the strange mask on and things like that. I thought it was pretty well done. I mean, I think it's kind of the action sequences are very well done. You had the other people. You had the alphas, which were these kind of very fast zombies, but very powerful big ones with huge swinging cocks. So if you want to see zombies,
there's one guy in it called I think it's called Samson. Is that what they call him? And his wang is enormous.
So they're chasing after people with their, you know, literally this pendulum going, swinging in front of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as the ending, it is kind of a thing that will only really resonate with British or possibly Irish audiences. And obviously not going to ruin the thing. But the thing I thought was interesting was that the certain celebrity, which I'm not going to name, who was disgraced, back when the apocalypse happened in 2002, was 28 days later, then this celebrity would not have been outed by that point. So how they're going to play all of that, I don't know. I liked it well enough. I don't think it's kind of I always have it's kind of just like all these things. I kind of all these post-apocalyptic films and TV series is kind of end up in like The Good Life, which is a 70s UK sitcom most people won't know, where people go back to have allotments and go back and wear woolly jumpers and get rid of technology. And for me, obviously, the most exciting thing when you've got a zombie film or series or whatever is the outbreak and all of that. It's when people are walking around in this kind of going to this medieval thing. I find that less interesting. So, but I liked it well enough. I think it was kind of, I think the ending alone certainly makes it a kind of a classic what the fuck style twist that you just wouldn't see coming. And that alone is kind of makes it worth seeing. But I'll be interested to see where they go with it next. Joseph, we haven't come to you yet, have we?
I've got nothing.
Well, what we are talking about is you're on Patreon. We're doing an off-piste summer, aren't we? So we're starting with Commando, the Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie, which I'd never seen before, surprisingly.
Had you not?
No, so it's my first time watch. So we'll be sharing my thoughts on that after we finish recording this. We're going to be recording our episode on Commando, and lots of jokes about Eric going Commando.
I have underpants on. I just don't have overpants on.
Right. So anyway, just a couple of things. Obviously, I saw 28 weeks later. A couple of films I've reviewed. Upcoming on Hysteria Lives on my YouTube channel, and my ever popular Indian language slasher movies. Obviously, I made you all watch Whistle. But there's two ones which I think possibly people would enjoy. They're both on YouTube. One's called A Film by Aravind, and it's a Tollywood, which is Telugu language slasher, and it's kind of a meta slasher. Where it's kind of it's one of the very first Tollywood slasher movies I think made there. It didn't come with song and dance in it, so it's the basic story is director and his star get a new script and they drive to the countryside to read the script, and as they're going, every time anything happens it seems to be reflected in the script, the spec script they were reading, and they pick up a beautiful young woman and they take her with them, and then they hear on the radio that a female serial killer is on the loose and warned not to pick up any women on the road, and then it turns into a complete slasher movie at the end with lots of people running around the woods and people being all men being killed by this killer, but is it this woman or not? So, but the reason I did that partly, I mean, that's a good film, but Aravind 2, which is 2013 sequel, is dubbed the Indian Friday the 13th. And it is basically an Indian Friday the 13th movie, and even so much so that the director thanks Jason Voorhees at the end of the movie.
Oh,
it's basically the Indian remake of Friday the 13th remake from 2009.
Okay.
But it's with, so it's got bits and pieces in that, but it's got the killer with the kind of sackcloth, like from Friday the 13th Part 2 in it, and also the killer has an underground lair. But this one's where a film crew goes into a forest to make a romance movie, and they piss off the killer, who drives a truck like the one in Jeepers Creepers, bizarrely, and so that he kills them off one by one. But he does ways, but it's fairly gory. People have their heads chopped off, people get stabbed through the back of the neck, blades come out their mouth, someone gets burned to death in a sleeping bag over a fire, and he's running around the woods with a machete, jumping through the air. So it's all good fun. It's all good fun. So that one, I think, and that's on YouTube as well. So if you fancy watching that. So, okay, is there anything left to say before we say what we're watching next time?
What's next? It's Nate. Whose pick is it next?
It's my pick,
yours,
I think.
yeah.
Yes. So, as I keep on trying to pick films I've already done, so I've double checked. We haven't done this one. And we are going back to the early 80s, 1982 to be exact, for a film that I don't particularly like my last watch, but it'll be interesting to watch again. It's Double Exposure, the killer photographer movie from 1982, which
it's actually a remake of a 70s film called The Photographer.
Okay, interesting. We'll have to maybe check that out. But yeah, so Double Exposure, which is a strange one, and I know it has things like people being killed with rattlesnakes inside bags and all sorts of strange things. So that will be our next one. But Nathan, you know what's coming up next?
I I don't think he does.
No. What are we playing out with?
Okay. We are going to play out with Friday I'm in Love by The Cure.
Oh, there we go.
Ah, good
A
choice.
goth song, especially for Justin, although it's not really goth. It's quite
true.
poppy.
It doesn't feel like a Cure song.
Justin probably hates it. It's like, ooh, they totally jumped to the shark with that song.
No, it's like, I mean, The Cure are two sides, aren't they? You got the white and the dark,
You
the
had
black.
hair like The Cure in the 80s. I've seen pictures.
But everyone had hair. Well, not everyone.
I didn't. I had hair like Lamal.
Yeah, so that's Google's your friend on that one. So we'll be covering Double Exposure next time. So thank you for watching or listening to Hysteria Continues, and we will catch you next time. So say goodbye to the good people.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
It's Friday.